Welcome to the Cooperative Program stage at the 2024 Southern Baptist Convention annual meeting. We're using this stage time to talk about the impact that Southern Baptists are making in our nation and among the nations through the Cooperative Program. The Cooperative Program is really a signal of Southern Baptists' love for the lost as CP funds fuel the mission that Southern Baptists do at home and around the world. I'm Paul Chitwood, President of the International Mission Board, and I have the privilege of helping steward the work among the nations that Southern Baptists are doing as myself and Rose and Jeff have the opportunity to serve with the International Mission Board. Our topic for this segment is a special initiative that the International Mission Board launched last year to ensure that the gospel gets to every nation, all tribes and peoples and languages. We're calling this initiative Project 3000, as it helps us give focus to those who have yet to be engaged with the gospel around the world. I'm here with Jeff and Rose Waligora, a very faithful couple who have served with the IMB for many years, field missionaries in Asia, now working to help our work here at home and around the world, plugging others into mission work. They have given so much of their lives to Great Commission work, Great Commission faithfulness. We are thankful for your ministry, thankful for your life, and thankful for the insights that you'll be able to share with us today about Project 3000. So let's start with this question. What is Project 3000?
Well, Rose, you want to?
Project 3000 is an effort to send out 300 missionary explorers who would then engage the 3,072 unengaged, unreached people groups around the world. These are some of the most unreached of the unreached. And we send out these missionary explorers to go into these remote jungles or mountains or deserts to find these people groups. They're very remote, but as they work with local partners, then they begin to gather research and then share that with our IMB missionary partners on the ground so that an entry missionary strategy can be implemented.
Well, that's a great description. I think it is important to note as we undertake an initiative like this that those who will serve as our missionary explorers are fully funded through the generosity of Southern Baptists through the Cooperative Program and the Lottie Moon Christmas offering. So when we think about the way CP is making an impact around the world, literally the Cooperative Program is getting us to the unreached and unengaged among the nations. So share with us a little bit about more about that work. You've described it well, Rose, but what happens when a missionary explorer is able to find one of these unreached and unengaged people groups?
Yeah, so when the explorers get out there and they find an unengaged, unreached people group, one of the first things they do is they share the gospel, of course. They do a lot of research on the people group. They try to find out more details about the people group. They try to start a prayer strategy for that people group. They connect them with national partners as well as some of our long-term teams that are on the field. And so they do all that. But these explorers actually, each explorer is assigned 10 unengaged, unreached people groups. So after they find one group and then they get this going, then they're actually going out researching another people group. So in that 2-year term that they're out there, they're researching and helping to engage these 10 different unengaged, unreached people groups.
So I know you all have maintained a lot of relationships with our overseas missionaries, having been overseas missionaries yourself and just remain so invested in the work of the IMB. Jeff, you were sharing with us earlier today about some conversation you've had recently with a couple of these explorers who are already out doing their work. Tell us a little bit. I know there's some security concerns here because literally these missionary explorers are going into some very hard to reach places. And people in those places are hard to reach for a reason. And sometimes there's great resistance and governments and in other ways to the gospel and to missionaries who would share the gospel. So you don't have to go into detail with regard to their identity, but maybe more about the conversation you've had. One of them you referenced is in the Pacific Islands.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about maybe an update on that explorer's work.
Right, yeah, one of our missionary explorers, actually, I think he was with the first wave, one of the first ones that went out. He's in the remote Pacific Island, and some of the people he's reaching out to, these unengaged, unreached people groups, they're deep in the mountains, deep in the jungles, and so it's not easy to get to. And so one of the first things they do, and he did, all the explorers do, is they learn language, they learn about the culture, so that takes some time. And then, of course, they have to have a visa. You can't just run around and share the gospel out some of these remote places. But yeah, he's been out there for a little over a year and a half now doing his work, and he's been doing a great job. He's built some national partners that he's traveling out with. These national partners are critical to the work because they know the language and the culture, and the beauty of working with some of these national partners is they speak English too, some of these guys. And so the explorer, our missionaries, can work together with them, and they go out together to these remote areas, going to the villages and staying in the villages and doing the research.
So a year and a half in, is he having any success in this effort?
This missionary explorer actually shared with us that the people that he's been able to talk with in these villages, they've been actually quite welcoming to him and friendly. He's been able to engage them in conversation. They've helped him gather the research as a part of his assignments, and he's been able to begin discipling some of them and begin to reach out into them. He'll make another trip back through and to further some of these relationships and report back to our missionary teams.
Yeah, and the beauty of this fellow we're talking about in the Pacific Island, he's assigned 10 unengaged, unreached people groups. He's actually found them all. He found all 10. And now he's going, like as Rose said, he's going back and he's visiting these groups and doing more gospel sharing.
So, Rose, when you talked about him taking his trips, I assume he's probably going to some pretty remote places. I mean, again, unreached and unengaged for a reason. What's life look like as a missionary explorer who is trying to make contact with the unengaged?
Well, it is very, very remote. So one example, one time as he, along with the local partner and one of the missionaries on the ground was traveling in, it took quite a while to get deep into the jungles and mountains. They actually came upon some locals with motorcycles. So they were able to take motorcycles into one of these villages, and they met the local people there. There are no hotels there, of course, so they were staying in the village leader's home. Well, one night, they heard the Muslim call to prayer. And the IMB missionary, the journeyman, said, "Hey guys, I think in this remote area, for hundreds of years, there has been no praise or worship that has gone up to our God. Let us offer praise songs and worship tonight." So this missionary explorer and the national partner and the missionary were able to sing hymns and praise and worship songs to the Lord that night by the lake. And that probably was the first time that worship has gone up to God in these remote areas.
Well, that is a beautiful thing. And that's what we're after,
Amen.
to see more
Amen.
worshiping, see the Lord glorified, and more people come to know Him. I know there's another explorer that you all have been in contact with, a young man we had the opportunity to meet. He's been out, I think, maybe since Christmas. Seemed very excited about his opportunity to go, moved by the idea of getting to be a part of Southern Baptist reach to the uttermost. Right. Tell us a little bit about that work.
Yeah, this gentleman, he's in Asia, in a remote area as well. And we have an interview conference when prospective people want to come and work with the IMB. They come to the International Learning Center and they, choose a job and then get a job match. And so he came there thinking he was going to go to one place. And when he got to the International Learning Center, this job fair, he realized after he heard about P3000, Project 3000, and all these 3,072 unengaged, unreached people groups, he forgot about the other job that he was thinking about doing, and he felt the Lord really telling him, you need to reach out to these unengaged, unreached people groups. This is frontier work, and he wanted to be a part of that. So he left. He came there thinking he was going to do one thing. He left there joining the Project 3000.
So Missionary Explorers, I've heard you describe it, goes out to remote, difficult to reach places. Sounds pretty lonely. I mean, is anyone there to meet them, to welcome them, to greet them? What does it look like to arrive on the field as a new IMB missionary with this assignment?
Well, after he finishes his training, they land, and as they're going out into these remote villages, we do provide partnerships with them. So the local people will go out and travel with him. And actually, because they're doing research times, one way they enter these remote villages is working through the village leader. And sometimes the government officials will give them that entryway into these areas. And while he's there, he's gathering research. He has the approval of the government official and the village leader. And so he's building relationships, gathering information, and sharing the gospel where the opportunity allows.
Yeah, and a lot of these explorers, I said earlier, they have to get a visa. And so some of them work with different platforms, different businesses, so they can get a visa so they can go into these areas legitimately.
So we've talked about these two men who are out serving as explorers, Project 3000 explorers. Is this a men-only assignment? Are there any ladies in the mix?
We actually do have women explorers out right now. As of today, I think we have 19 on the field now, and we have some more candidates coming through in July, but we still have many more openings for both women and men to be sent out as explorers.
Yeah, we hope to get 300 out there, and right now we have 19, so we have a lot of slots. This is a 5-year initiative. We're just finishing up a year, so the next 4 years we hope to get a lot of young men and young women, and I believe it's like 30 and below or younger that go out on this, but it's for male and female.
That's right. And in general, 30 or younger, so that journeyman category of young adult. But we've made some exceptions. So if the Lord's leading someone,
yes, that's right.
If they're 35 or 34,
yeah, 37, 30. If the Lord's leading someone in this direction who's very passionate about engaging the unengaged, who would have some research skills, be willing to travel, have that kind of freedom. Oh, we'd love to talk with them about that, what it would look like for them.
Right.
The work is hard work. No doubt it's hard work. This young man we were most recently talking about went out with a lot of excitement. Is he still excited, or is he getting discouraged?
No, he's very excited. He's been doing a lot of language training, a lot of prep. He took some time to get the visa, but like I say, I talked to him just like 2 weeks ago, and he's still real gung-ho. Like in his mind, in his heart, he still feels, boy, over 3,000 unengaged, unreached people groups. This is frontier work. And in this world, there's not a lot of frontier work out there. I mean, this is it. And so he encouraged me to tell people here at the SBC convention to let the young people know this is a great avenue to be frontier work in this day and age in 2024, reaching unengaged, unreached people groups. He's still very excited. He's about to get out. He's got his visa now. He's about to get out there and do a lot of stuff and share the gospel. And yeah, he's gung-ho about it. And he's still going strong.
Oh, that's good to hear. One of the other things that we've been trying to emphasize to churches is the need to give prayer support to those who are out and looking for prayer partners. Be a virtual explorer, learn about the work of these who are on the ground and how you can pray for them and support them in that way, in addition to cooperative program generosity. Any prayer requests to share with us for these explorers?
Yes, we are always appreciative of prayer. They're aware how prayer sustains them and helps them in their work. They have requested prayer. One of our young men is actually taking out other potential candidates for the Missionary Explorer program. So he asks for prayer as he takes them out this summer, that the Lord would move in the hearts of these young people, that they would be called to come out and join as a missionary explorer. We also pray that the Lord would sustain him, as he does have a busy summer this summer. Our other explorer has requested, as he is making inroads into the villages with the government officials and the village leaders, just for wisdom along with opportunities for him to share the gospel, even with the government officials and village leaders. And we'd love to request prayer for both explorers for language and culture learning to continue, that they might be able to articulate the gospel in the language of those people groups more and more.
Amen.
Thank you for sharing those prayer requests. We do encourage you to remember your missionary explorers in prayer. Thank you, Jeff and Rose, for representing so well Project 3000 and the explorers who you have relationships with, helping us all understand how the cooperative program is getting the gospel to those who have yet to hear.
Amen.
And thank you, churches, for your generosity in fueling the mission to the very ends of the earth through the cooperative program.